Yeah, it feels very good, doesn't it? I think we had a run of 4 games that we'd lost, and the morale of the team was still high. And I think that's what you've seen now. We've sort of pushed through that period where things weren't going perfectly for us, and we had a magnificent tour of Africa and Argentina, and now I've come back, and it was a difficult 3 weeks with the jet lag. We've come back here and put in, I think, a very good performance under a bit of fatigue and terrible conditions to win the game with a bonus point. So 14 out of the last 15, 14 points out of a possible 15 points over the last 3 rounds has been very pleasing.
It's pretty scrappy first half there. Did you, at half time, did you think it was going to be maybe a bit tougher and you just need to kind of score that first try in the second half to open things up?
We spoke at half time about starting well in the second half. The kick-off was good. Carts actually got a boot to the ball in the breakdown, which ignited the little bit of attack that we had on the line there, and scored not long after that. So yeah, it was a great start, and I think it was the attitude that the boys took out onto the field in that second half that really sparked the performance in the second half.
And obviously it is 3 wins in a row now, but if you look at it, come finals time you're going to be back here, it's going to probably be a bit stiffer opposition. What do you do for the next 6 weeks leading in?
Well, next week the boys have got a week off, so like I said, there's a bit of fatigue coming to that game out the back of 3 weeks of intense travel. So a freshen up next week and then back into a mini pre-season program. We've got a game in Singapore in the 3rd week of the June window against the Pacific Asian Dragons on a Thursday night over there. And then give the boys another week off after that, and then we'll come together Friday before we prep for our Reds week, which will start on the Sunday because we play the Reds on the Friday night. So it's kind of a mix of hard training with rest into 2 games, and that should give us a good prep into the final.
Fairly sort of long debrief in celebration in there. What was the message to the group after?
No, there's a couple of guys doing drug testing, so we had to wait for them. And then a pretty brief wrap-up of the game, and then just an outline of what we're doing over the next couple of weeks. We didn't want to cloud any of the focus through the week in terms of talking about what's happening after this game. So we decided to have a bit of a team meeting in there just to clarify a few things.
I guess the bogey's still there for Australian and New Zealand sides, and it looks like you could potentially be playing a New Zealand side in the finals.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah. Well, how do you sort of approach that ongoing sort of problem with Australia?
Well, I think we've had a pretty good focus on trying to beat New Zealand teams for a while now, and we haven't done it for a while. But if you look at our games, we had the Hurricanes at half time. We've lost our other ones against New Zealand sides by less than 7 points. So we're working towards creating a better balanced game, and we've been doing that all season. And we feel that if we get it right, then we should be able to match it with those guys.
What's the feeling like amongst the playing group after fantastic achievement?
Yeah, it's great. I think the best thing for us was getting away for a couple of weeks in South Africa and Argentina, and then we had a big focus on this week being a danger week, and we wanted to be really clinical in this game, and the boys really bought in. They did everything they said they were going to do, which is the most pleasing aspect for me.
And I guess having the sort of break now and you're going away with the Wallabies, is it sort of hard to sort of think too far ahead to the finals?
Yeah, well, first things first, we'll do a bit of recovery. We'll have this June test window, and while the other blokes who aren't with the Wallabies will be working hard here, which is it's just the way we do things, and the blokes in the Wallabies will be honing their skills for the test matches, and then we'll all come together before the Reds match and then try to build that momentum going in the last 2 games and then the home final. So that's our focus at the moment.
How did you find it out there tonight? Obviously it came out with a point to prove, the Rebels doing it against you guys down in Melbourne. How was it out there?
Yeah, pretty tough actually. I mean, the Rebels haven't won many games this year, but they're just the one game against us. But they're a very, very tough side, and they hit pretty hard. So we knew if we tighten things up in the second half, which is what we spoke about at half time, we could be a bit more clinical, and we got the points out of that.
You mentioned it's more than likely going to be New Zealand opposition in the finals. I guess I think you have the Reds and then the Chiefs. How do you kind of prepare for New Zealand opposition 6 weeks out?
We'll play one in Waikato, so that's a pretty good focus there. We'll have to take on the Reds first, and then whoever we get in the finals, we might get the Chiefs again. We might get the Chiefs 2 weeks in a row, so we'll see how we go. But our focus doesn't change. We have to come together as a squad and keep working on the things we want to work on to improve our game. That's been our focus all year.
5 finals in a row now. Do you pretty?
Jeez, Russ, come on, mate.
5 consecutive finals in a row. Do you kind of allow yourself to reflect on that achievement just yet, or is that a post-season type thing?
No, not really. I haven't thought about that at all. I mean, at the start of the season, when we were at the season launch, a lot of people asked us what's it going to be like this year with all those players leaving. We said there's nothing changed for us. I mean, focus was still the same. We still trained as hard as ever, and that's starting to pay off in the season. And we haven't won as many games as we did last year, but we're still in the same position to take ourselves to the final, which is the most pleasing thing.
Any Wallabies boys tonight probably didn't do their chances any harm of maybe getting a start next week. What did you think of the guys in contention there?
Oh, well, across the board I thought it was a good performance. Like I said, a lot of fatigue coming into that game, and the guys pushed through it really well. Very slippery conditions out on the field, so a couple of mistakes in that first half, but a good chat at half time in the individual units, and the boys came out and performed really well in that second half. So yeah, it's there's obviously going to be a couple of selection meetings over the next couple of days, and I'll be pushing as hard as I can.
Was bringing Tavita and Henry off maybe with an eye towards next week?
Henry probably, yeah, but Tavita just wasn't having a great game, so I had to get him off the field. Yeah, they were just, you know, in terms of our travel, those guys have played big minutes all year, Henry and Tavita, and it was an opportunity for some of the guys who were nice and fresh, so Andy Muirhead and Nigel Arwong, to get on the field and add a bit of spark, which I thought they did really well. Joe
Powell kind of continued his pretty solid form tonight. Would you think he's a pretty good chance to wear Wallaby gold next week?
Yep, I think so, yeah. I think, like I said, really tough conditions, and it doesn't get any tougher for a halfback with the greasy ball. From line out, not too bad, but a couple of phases in, and certainly from scrum, the ball's as slippery as a cake of soap. So he did a fantastic job tonight, distributing, and defensively worked really well around the paddock as well. So nothing different to a normal game for Joey, really.
And just what I was asked before, the 2011 I think was the worst season in club history. They've gone on to make 5 finals in a row now. Do you allow yourself to reflect on that at all, or job not done?
No, not at all. I think, and if you look at that, and in review of the season, it's not about getting to the final, it's about winning the final. So we've got to make sure that the push from now till the end of the competition is harder than it's ever been.
And any injuries? You mentioned fatigue. Will everyone got through okay?
Yeah, it seems like everyone's okay. We had a couple of boys play club rugby who've copped a couple of knocks and stuff, so we'll assess, but 4 weeks off, or a week off next week anyway, and then preparation for the final 2 rounds. I think we should be right.
Do you know what happened with Henry when he was lying under the post in the first half?
He just got twisted a little bit, so just twisted with his neck. No concussion issues or anything like that, so I think he just wanted a bit of sympathy from the crowd.
Cool.